All right, another game going on Saturday, the Bedlam Bowl, Oklahoma against Oklahoma State.
That's good.
Big 12 showdown going on, and what a matchup it's going to be.
Whew.
Oklahoma, early road favorite here of 4, despite the fact that the quarterback Baker Mayfield is up in the air with a concussion. They're going to check him out this week.
Yeah. Might
Might even be a game time decision, but he's been a difference maker for them. 32 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in their new air raid offense. The Sooners on a 19-7-1 run over the total. If he can't go, the backup quarterback Trevor Knight was here last year, but wasn't very productive, which is why they revamped the offense and brought in a new coordinator. They come off a win over TCU, 19.5.
I wouldn't brag about that if I was
Exactly. They had to stop that 2-point conversion. The guy was open to in the end zone, and the linebacker made a great play knocking it down, but they had to hang on for dear life as a huge favorite. Now they're going on the road to face a rivalry game. They're on a 4-1 run, spread run on the road, but Sean, can you trust Bob Stooper, actually either of these coaches, in a big game?
Well, first of all, this again, Oklahoma is ranked number 5, and you're right. The line opened 3.5. I saw 4.5 back to 4. I haven't seen a total on the game. Oklahoma State, boy, talk about a hit. Now they're ranked number 9 over 1 loss. This game will go at 8 p.m. Eastern time. The weather, by the way, is not going to be good. It's in Stillwater, Oklahoma, mostly cloudy, showers and light freezing rain when the game starts. The temperature will be in the low 30s. Let's take a look at Oklahoma. 10-1 straight up. Everybody knows about that one crushing loss about 2 months ago as a 17-point favorite up in Dallas to Texas. Very good against the bookie. They're 8-3 against the number. Already talked about that one big loss to Texas as a 17-point dog. That's going to really hurt them. Then they covered their next 5 in a row. That's when they had that team meeting with the coach and those linemen and all that. And then barely, we talk about this, they barely squeaked by TCU last week all the way up. They opened a home favorite at 3, went all the way up to 19. And they win the game 30-29. They were actually up 23-7 late, and then TCU, with like the 7th-string quarterback, just made this run. They scored 16 unanswered points. TCU did in the 4th quarter and couldn't quite get the job done. But boy, what a miracle that was. Okay, sophomore quarterback Mayfield. You're right. How about look at these numbers? 33 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions. But he does. My opinion is somehow, some way, they're going to find a way. He'll start the game at least. Now, whether he finishes it or not will be another story. And then this running back, and I'll need help again with this. Is it Proline or Perini?
Pirine.
Okay, Pirine. He rushes for 1,160 yards at 6 yards a carry. And Oklahoma wins over Baylor and TCU. This is what I meant before about this Stanford thing. Some things have to happen. I think Oklahoma State has to lose, and I think Baylor has to beat TCU. And then there's one other thing that has to happen for Stanford, and they would have to really wax Notre Dame for Stanford to even have a shot to get in there. Looks like the quarterback, if Mayfield can't go, it'll be a kid named Trevor Knight, who, believe it or not, at one time was the starter. I think he started the Sugar Bowl back in like 2013.
He started all last year, too.
I don't think he started all last year, but he was the starter before
this guy.
Before Mayfield, brought him out. But this year, 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception. I think he's thrown only 19 passes, completed 10 of them. And how about, boy, let's get to Oklahoma State, right? 10-1 straight up, already know about that. A very poor 5-6 against the number. They just lost, as you know, as a home dog at 3 to Baylor, 45-35. Defense gave up 699 yards. That's not going to be good.
Not going to cut it.
Yeah, it depends on who goes for Oklahoma, though. Sophomore quarterback, Mason Rudolph, very good. 21 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions. And also the backup, who may be better, is it J.W. Walsh? 11 touchdown passes, no interceptions. Oklahoma State, they throw the football. That's what their deal is. Running back, this is Carson, with 446 yards at 3.9 yards a carry. Then they got 3 or 4 other guys that have less than 200 yards a game. So passing is what they do. But I think this running back, Jeff, does he have an ankle injury? I believe I saw him listed as a possible ankle injury.
Chris Carson?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's battled an injury much.
Battling injury most of the year.
But
So they're gonna have to live with this quarterback. Both teams coming off traumatic games. That's putting it mildly. We already talked about. Oklahoma State won this game straight up last year as a road dog of 20.
Yeah.
In overtime. I don't think Oklahoma's going to forget that, aside from the fact they need the win anyway. Last week before the Baylor game, we talk about making these numbers the week before. The last week before the Baylor game, in other words, before these games were played, this one, Oklahoma State was undefeated. I made Oklahoma State about a 2.5 to 3 point favorite. Now they're getting 4.5 after one game. Is it a mindset thing? Would they not want to bounce back, play a little harder, play a little bit more efficient? At the house, Oklahoma State at home, 5-1 straight up, just 3-3 against the number. But how about Oklahoma? On the road, perfect 4-0 straight up and against the number, and they covered by 21 points a game. A little tough for me to ignore that. And when you pretty much know what the other team has to do, I mean, Oklahoma State not famous for running backs, Barry Sanders maybe way back when, and another kid named Terry Miller, if anybody wants to try and remember where he played, 1988. But they pretty much have to throw the ball. Even though it's points, and I don't like laying points when I think a team should be an underdog the previous week, I can't make a case for Oklahoma State, and I'd have to lay the points at Oklahoma. That's be my call on this if I have to play the game. So.
And you do for this show.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, they use two quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph and J.W. Walsh, for the season. These guys have been terrific. 32 touchdowns, 8 picks combined. Walsh particularly good in the red zone. But as you mentioned, that defense, they gave up 699 yards last week. You know, Rob
They've been in
Ryan.
some shootouts already.
Rob Ryan looked at that and he said, well, that's not that bad. I wish my Saints team could give up 699, I'd still have a job. Yeah, they were terrible on defense, and they're facing this air raid attack. Hopefully Mayfield's going to play for them, so that's a major concern. And yet, it's a rivalry game. 4-0 against the spread, the dog is, including that one last year. 20-point dog, they win straight
up in overtime, 38-35.
So you get an Oklahoma team that barely won as a 19-point favorite last week, and last year as a 20-point favorite, didn't win this game. So, again, Jeff, which coach do you trust here?
If it is coaching.
Well, I've always thought Mike Gundy's always been one of my favorite coaches, because I like the way he plays, and his teams are never out of the game, it seems like. And
he played well, too, when he was a player.
Yeah, but this is, the way Oklahoma was playing since that Texas game, it's pretty hard to go against them. Plus, and last year, they really blew that game against Oklahoma State. Bob Stoops made a boneheaded call at the end. He punted the ball, and Oklahoma State would have been deep in their own territory, would have had to go almost length of the field to tie the game, but there was a penalty, so we kicked it again, and Tyreek Hill ran it back for a touchdown.
That's what you call a bad decision.
Yeah. Twice.
So that's, I'm sure that's on Oklahoma's mind.
You're saying he was the Charlie Brown of decisions on that?
Yeah, he's done. It's happened a lot, but Sean was wondering how it could be such a swing with one game, but it's a bubble burst game for Oklahoma State. So that's one thing to think of, and so it's also hard to handicap these games early in the week because of all the injuries. I remember last week I like Utah, UCLA. Next thing I know, Devontae Booker, one of the top running backs in the country, is out for the year. So what can you do? There's so many injuries in football these days. It's hard to. It's more of a survival
worse than the
test.
NFL.
Yeah. Trevor Knight, if Mayfield can't play, Trevor Knight didn't do too well on Saturday. He was 5 of 16 with 76 yards and interception. Oklahoma scored 24 points off of turnovers, and they still barely won the game. So it's a tough one. That was the loss. Baylor beat Oklahoma State for the first time since 1939 in Stillwater. That was pretty. But I think. I just can't go against Oklahoma the way they're playing right now. Yeah. So it's not going to be a game that's not going to be.
They're perfect on the road too.
I'll have to lean toward Oklahoma, John.
Okay, well I'm going to have to go toward the home dog here because both offenses are potent. The dog is 4-1 against the spread when these teams meet. Oklahoma State not very good in bounce back mode after a loss, 2-6 against the spread. They're also only 6-9 ATS when they face a team with a winning record. But then there's the Oklahoma and Stoops in these big games. I certainly have reservations about him. And if they have to go with Trevor Knight, when I saw him the last season, he was not very effective in that offense, which is why they revamped it. So I don't trust him. But I do trust both of these Cowboy quarterbacks, so it could be a high-scoring game. Also, Oklahoma State very good at home, 17-9 against the spread, so I'll back the home dog in this one. All right, we have Ohio State, Michigan coming up. Before that, if you want to get to free plays, or actually if you want to get plays from Jim Fice, you can call 1-855-846-7426. Those are his big plays daily. If you're going to free plays, you can get them on a recorded message on a phone, 1-888-478-9222. Or you can get them via text right to your cell phone every day. Just text to 25827, and that's free plays at 25827 right on your screen.